We have this model of find, frame and fix. So we find the problem, we frame the problem statement in iteration with the organizations. We decide that these are the ones to be prioritized and these are the ones which can be taken up later. And then we say, how do you fix these problems?
How do you decide that how much of it can you give 100% autonomy and where are the cases where human insight is required?
The same use case of order to cash, but
Correct.
below a certain value. You can decide that this is my bar below which it is fully autonomous. There may be certain areas where there are various legal parameters, there are other things which are involved. Really, UPIs and ONDCs have really leapfrogged India ahead of all other countries in the globe. Very proud to be an Indian at this date and age. The way we approach the market in India is twofold. So we are quite proud of the fact that we have close to 200 GCCs as per the latest count, where we have Celonis being used as a process intelligence and AI platform out of India. Most customers are coming up with AI use cases and they're realizing that typically AI over the past 3 years, from the time generative AI came in to today, we are talking about agentic AI, the success rate has not been very high. When you are taking data for these processes, typically you will see that in most of these organizations, the applications are not siloed with only one application. These processes cuts across multiple applications.
AI can't fix what it can't see. And that's the uncomfortable truth most enterprises are waking up to. Dashboards look good, automations move fast. But underneath all of it, processes are broken and no one knows where. Enter Celonis, the $13 billion company that wants to be the system of intelligence behind how the world runs. Supply chains, finance ops, manufacturing, and everything in between. Today I sit down with Kaushik Mitra, Vice President GTM Celonis India, to break down how process intelligence, digital twins, and enterprise AI agents are quietly becoming the backbone of global business transformation. If you have ever wondered why your deliveries get delayed, why orders get stuck, or how India's AI push will reshape real business outcomes, this is the conversation you don't want to miss. And this is Point Break. Good morning. Thank you, Kaushik, for taking the time to speak to us. Well, Kaushik, I want to begin with the whole journey of Celonis. This is for the people who are not really aware of it. So my question is, why does the world need Celonis? What are you trying to solve?
So good morning, Vandana, and thanks for having me. Really looking forward to this conversation. Yeah, I mean, I just want to give you a brief history about Celonis. It started when our co-founders, three of them, in their university days, they chanced upon something called process mining, and they met the founder of, or rather the chief scientist who has founded process mining, Professor Van der Aalst, and they were very interested in the topic and they felt that this will bring immense value to the customers, and they did a project on that, and the project was very successful. And then the customer said, hey, you form a company and I will become your first customer. And that's how it started. And I'll talk more about what Celonis does, but just the journey part of it. So over the next 5 years, we were founded in Munich, and it grew into a large organization, of course still bootstrapped. And thereafter, it drew the attention of investors. And then we went through our investment cycle, Series A, B, C, and D. And today we are valuated at $13 billion and really a well-respected applications, analytics, and process intelligence platform, which really brings value to the customers, and I'll talk about it. So what Celonis does is it essentially takes data from the business applications, which runs an organization. It can be finance, manufacturing, supply chain, CRM, service, HR, and so on and so forth. And it builds what is called a digital twin of the applications. which essentially is a MRI or an X-ray of the organization, and really shows how the as-is process is like. Essentially bringing to the fore the current status of the processes, where are the gaps, where are the inefficiencies, and how they can be addressed. So it doesn't stop at finding the problem. It then frames the problem statement, and then it tries to fix this through multiple ways, and we'll talk more about it. So it can be AI, it can be automation, it can be actionable apps, and so on and so forth. So essentially, if you look at Celonis, it really is a system of intelligence which is of immense value to the customers, because it really is a mirror to them as to how their processes are being run and how they can further improve it, especially in this era of supply chain disruption and all the geopolitical challenges, etc., which one is going through,
Right.
and the tariff regime. So that's what Celonis is,
Okay.
and we are rated by all the analysts, the prominent ones, Gartner, Forrester, and Everest, at the top right, and we are really the category creator and the brand leader in this space.
Okay, very interesting question. So, which leads me to the next question, which might seem like, oh, okay, we're directly jumping into it. But how is the competitive space here? What is Celonis offering that kind of uniquely positions you in the front?
Yeah, exactly. So look, analytics is something which has been there for many years. So analytics is nothing new. But what is very important is we differentiate ourselves by the fact that we are into real-time analytics, which essentially means we take data real-time from the applications, and we give the path towards addressing the gaps, right? It's not like post facto, it's like real-time. So if you have a challenge, how do you address it so that you can address the challenge there and then? And we have the ability to take data from multiple hybrid applications. So it can be anything. I mean, it can be SAP, it can be Oracle, it can be Microsoft, Salesforce, ServiceNow, you name it. We have connectors to all the applications, and anything that leaves a digital footprint. It can be an Excel on the desktop, it can be a custom applications, it can be a custom ERP. We take data through our data engineering platform and build the digital twin. And that is something very unique for Celonis. And we don't stop there. As I said, we have this model of find, frame, and fix. So we find the problem, we frame the problem statement in iteration with the organizations. We decide that these are the ones to be prioritized and these are the ones which can be taken up later. And then we say, how do you fix these problems? How does it help you? And very importantly, how does it therefore leverage what is very important in today's date, which is artificial intelligence and automation.
Yeah.
And how can we thereby bring value to the customer? So that's where Celonis differs from some of the other platforms that we're talking about. I'm not going to name names, but
Sure, I get it.
But you can well understand. Yeah.
Correct. So with Celonis, we always associate, like you said, process intelligence. So can you just probably explain it in a better way? Like, what is process intelligence, and what is the gap that it is kind of fixing for, say, AI and automation companies? And where would Celonis probably fit in better?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you certain areas where typically it fits in. So for example, we call it the core 5 processes. It can be procurement, it can be accounts payable, it can be order to cash, accounts receivables, inventory. Then if you go into the line of business functions in specific industries, like in banking, you can look at credit lifecycle management, you can look at compliances, regulatory reporting. You go into service companies, warranty management, service management, and so on and so forth. So when you are taking data for these processes, typically you will see that in most of these organizations, the applications are not siloed with only one application. These processes cuts across multiple applications, right? Now, the engineering that is behind this is essentially taking data from these multiple applications and then building that digital twin that I spoke about. Once you do that, it's really a powerful tool in the hands of the CFO or the chief of purchase or the CEO, because you really understand where the gaps are. The next step would be, how do we have the right kind of use cases by infusing AI and automation to solve some of these things.
Yeah.
So, for example, we don't look at AI as point solutions. We look at AI as an enterprise platform. We look at AI in prioritized business issues where we can solve those problems using AI, right? For example, let's say your order to cash process, it's getting delayed due to credit blocks which are being put in the system from the applications themselves. And you want to unravel, why is it getting delayed? What are the issues? So your AI agents get infused into this application process, and it takes data from the contextual layer of the process intelligence platform called Celonis. And it really figures out, okay, here is the problem, this is what we need to unblock. And then AI agent takes over from there. And you can also set a bar for itself. Let's say order values below a certain amount, you say AI can directly, the agent can directly address it. We don't even have to intervene. For, let's say, high value orders, you may mention that, look, there needs to be a human intervention. So it will have a consultative capacity. So it will advise you that it seems that this credit block can be removed. But because it's a high value order, therefore the human intelligence also comes in.
Correct.
So we are a firm believer in the fact that it's not only about artificial intelligence, it's also about human intelligence. We believe in the fact that you have to really use AI not for fashionable areas, but for real addressing business issues. Similarly for automation also, when you're automating certain processes, which are the ones which you want to prioritize? And that's something which you need to take a call, and the PI platform will actually advise you. And you as a CXO of the organization can actually take a call based on those inputs from the PI platform as to where you should prioritize.
Got it. So, Kaushik, which brings me to the next question of, so the agentic bit that you're talking about and enterprise agents. So how do you decide that how much of it can you give 100% autonomy, and where are the cases where, human insight is required?
Yeah, that's on a case-to-case basis, right? That's on the use case that you're talking about. There may be, as I mentioned, I gave you an example of the same use case of order to cash, but
Correct.
below a certain value. You can decide that this is my bar below which it is fully autonomous. There may be certain areas where there are various legal parameters, there are other things which are involved where you definitely need to have the human element in it. Because AI also have a ethical element to it, and one has to be very careful when one deploys it. That's why we are talking about enterprise AI, and we have to really pick and choose which are the areas where you can deploy. You look at all the other surrounding parameters, including legal, ethical, and other reasons, and deploy in the areas where you think it can be done without any challenge, right? So I would say that it depends on the use cases that you are looking at. But there are multiple things that we know which can be managed by the AI agents. And the question is, to what extent you will deploy? And it is always an evolving process. It's not something which you, kind of do it all and see it all on day one. You do it on a step-by-step basis, deploy, review, and thus move ahead.
So it's more of you understand from it, and then
Exactly.
you decide of how to go about it. Got it, Kaushik. Just going back to the digital twin bit, can you elaborate a bit on the process of how it is made, just to understand like how it looked before and after, and also the challenges in building this, because like you said, case to case basis and industry to industry. So how do you navigate through this scenario?
Yeah. The before and after is a very interesting question, and let me try and address that first. So what is a before scenario or the as is scenario?
Yeah.
Um, give you some examples.
Sure.
You are not able to deliver to the customer in time. You really don't know why that is happening. Is it because of the order to cash process? And I'm just exemplifying it.
Sure.
Or is there something in an upstream process like procure to pay, because of which your order to cash is getting impacted and you are not able to deliver in time? I'll give you an example of a large consumer beverage company, global, I'm not naming it, who were having 30% of their orders getting cancelled.
Okay.
And when they, and then I'll come to the after.
Sure.
So when they started looking at the reasons, they found that the challenge is not only in the order to cash process. It's because they are not getting the cans being delivered to them in time,
Okay.
which is in the procure to pay process. They're procuring from their vendors, which is why their deliveries are getting impacted. So you can see anything downstream is also being impacted by an upstream process on procure to pay. So which means the before state is cutting across multiple processes. And that is where what we call object-centric process mining, which is essentially we are not looking at processes in silos. We are looking at processes across the enterprise. So imagine this is the before that you are really trying to figure out from the example that I gave you. Now, what is after? So what the digital twin will do is it will take data across procure to pay, order to cash, and other associated processes, delivery, invoicing, etc.
Yeah.
And then it really brings to the fore where are the gaps, how many times it's happening, what is the average delay that's happening, and so on and so forth. So now you know from your existing process, which is the before process, you now know that these are the challenges that are there. Now, what would be the after? The after would be how do you address those gaps? So Celonis has a capability of drilling down to even the order level details.
Okay.
And say for each and every order, where are the problems? So from a global view to a detailed view.
Okay.
And then it enables the employees of the organization to actually take actions basis that, right? And then you see a trend and you say, okay, let us automate this process. It will be a faster way to resolve it.
Yeah.
So then you take a call to automate. Or let's bring in an AI agent. And the after effect of all of this will be a much better order to delivery process where your deliveries are happening in time, your cancellations are coming down. So the before process where you are having a business challenge, the after process is with process intelligence, with AI, and with automation, you're solving that.
Okay. Okay, Kaushik. But from Celonis end, like while building this, what are some of the challenges that
That's a very good question. See, typically, as I said, we are looking at multiple processes, right? Now, most organizations will have different applications running them. Like I said at the beginning of this discussion, you may have a lot of data in your Excel sheets. You may have ERP systems. You may have, in an order to cash process, you have your CRM systems, and so on and so forth. The challenge, and I won't call it a challenge, we have mastered that, is to take data from different sources. And really then, through an iterative process, discussing with the organizations about the assumptions we are taking, verifying that whether the assumptions are correct or not, and then building that twin. So understanding the algorithm of how that process works is very important. And typically we have seen, like one of the examples I want to take is duplicate payment of invoices.
Okay.
Right? We have seen that when we go and meet a customer, most customers feel that we are using an application, ERP system, we don't pay our vendors duplicate at all. But when we surface the data, we find there's large amount of duplicate payments which has actually happened.
Okay.
And not that they don't get addressed. They get addressed later on when you reconcile.
Yeah.
But the fact is that working capital is getting blocked for that period, which you could have unraveled, right? I would say that the challenge is more to form that model because we are taking data from various applications and various sources. But the fact also remains is we are very confident of delivering it because we have done it all over the last 14 years. We have multiple use cases, like I told you before. So that is our strength actually. The challenge is actually a strength. We have the ability to take data from multiple application platforms.
Got it, got it. Interesting. Now I just want to shift gears to the Indian market and
Yeah.
where Celonis kind of fits in. I mean, you see a new technological era happening in India. You have UPIs, ONDCs. So where do you see that Celonis would work best? As in, is there any specific category or sub-industry where Celonis' solutions would be like a perfect fit?
Yeah. Very good question. And really, UPIs and ONDCs have really leapfrogged India ahead of all other countries in the globe. But to come back to your question, so there are industries where we have really been successful globally. For example, automotive manufacturing,
Yeah.
consumer products, retail, pharmaceuticals, BFSI, all of these, we have very strong use cases. The way we approach the market in India is twofold. For the large Indian enterprises, we are looking at the top end of the town and the large enterprises in these industries and sharing the use cases which has been successful globally. We would of course also go to the mid-market, but at this point in time, process intelligence being a relatively new entrant into the India market,
Yeah.
we are trying to address the enterprise segment first for these industries with the industry use cases, right? And how are we proving our point? Through the GCCs. So we are quite proud of the fact that we have close to 200 GCCs as per the latest count, where we have Celonis being used as a process intelligence and AI platform out of India.
Okay.
And these are global giants who have their GCCs in India, right? So they have the similar use cases by industry, and we cross-pollinate those GCC use cases into our Indian enterprises, and that has a tremendous impact. For example, Reckitt is a large consumer company which uses our applications. When we address the CPG industries in India, we can leverage our use cases which we have used in Reckitt or other CPG companies. PepsiCo is a large company. In the automotive sector, Mercedes-Benz is a large one, right? So most of the large global logos in these industries are Celonis customers.
Okay.
And our approach to the market is to leverage the GCCs and use the use cases and replicate them in those industries in Indian enterprises.
Okay. So would you say you're probably building for India or from India? Like,
Yeah.
how would you, I mean, if you had to like pick one, which is more the priority?
I'll pick both.
Okay, you'll pick both.
I'll pick both.
Right.
Yeah. So look, so let me share about our investments in India. So
Sure.
we are looking at a large expansion in India. We already have close to 300 employees in our office in Bangalore. And we have multiple functions. We started in 2021 with a service delivery arm and the value engineering arm. And now we have our innovation platform, which is for the global market, but out of India,
Okay.
right? It's called the Celonis Garage, which is a very interesting concept where we co-create solutions with our partners and our customers and bring in new use cases. And of course, the GTM, the go-to-market, which I'm leading, right? So all of these are not only meant for the Indian market, but it's also meant for the global market. It's not only meant for the GCCs, but it's also leaving its footprint and impact on the global organizations. Like, so, for example, if there is a GCC which is operating out of India, let's take a name, let's say Diageo or Reckitt, they would obviously work on the processes for the global organizations, right? So it has a global impact, what we are doing. We are supporting customers globally from India, and we are also supporting customers for India. So we are doing both, and there's a tagline, very interesting tagline in our within our parlance, which we talk about it also in various LinkedIn posts. We say India is our future, and India is carved out as a separate region within Celonis. There are 4 regions for Celonis, EMEA and Asia Pacific being one, US being one, Japan being one, and India is the other one.
Okay. So India is a very prominent market,
Yeah.
right? So apart from the examples of Reckitt, are there any customer unlock stories that you can share from the Indian side?
Yeah. So look, from the Indian side, as I said, we started our go-to-market just now, but just 9 months back, which is when I came on board, and the team is now in place. So I can talk about the positive, the tailwind that we have. We possibly would have met more than 100 customers in the past 9 months, and we already are doing what we call proofs of value for more than 10 customers, which essentially means we have talked about our platform, we got their buy-in, they have now said, okay, these are some of the business challenges we want to address, and then they have given us data under NDA, and then we have gone ahead and started doing proofs of value. And I'm sure we will have very exciting results in the next few months, and you please keep a watch on us. Yeah.
Sure.
But expanding on that, if you look at the GCCs, as I said, we have close to 200 in India. They themselves are our customers who are based out of India. So they demonstrate all of Celonis' platforms. They have large amount of resources who are working on Celonis. Our partners have their COEs on Celonis, through which they are addressing the global markets. Most of the big 4 and the large GSIs are our partners, and they have a specific focus on Celonis.
Okay.
Right? So a lot of excitement around India, but as I said, we are in the initial part of a journey, and we have customers in GCCs, but we definitely look forward to getting the India enterprise customers very soon.
Correct. And in this initial journey, like you said, in India, it's kind of nascent. But are there any customer patterns or behaviors from your customers across the globe versus Indian customers? Is there any pattern or something that has probably been very intriguing or interesting for you?
Yeah, the common refrain that we are hearing is around AI. So analytics is something which, as I said, Indian customers must have been using for the past 30 years, right? But what is very interesting that we see as a trend is how we can deploy process intelligence to foray the cause for AI. That is a very important trend that we are seeing. The other being, people are looking at enterprise transformation. So it's not about moving your ERP from one version to the other. It's about how you can do digital transformation across the enterprise. So if you ask me, these are the 2 very important hooks that I'm seeing in the past 9 odd months that we are in the GTM part. So most customers are coming up with AI use cases, and they're realizing that typically AI over the past 3 years, from the time generative AI came in to today, we are talking about agentic AI. The success rate has not been very high, and that has also been highlighted by some of the leading analysts. So like Alex mentioned in the Celosphere, that 11% of the customers have been successful on AI. And why is that happening? So the trend is customers are really now getting into the why AI is not being successful. It's given that AI has a very positive impact on an organization's efficiency and other things. But why isn't success happening? So the PI layer is becoming a very, very important part in that. And that's what is a trend we are seeing. And how will it help? It will help in the digital transformation, enterprise end-to-end transformation. And how is it therefore applicable from a global perspective? How can we have a better time to market, respond to changes? Today tariff is X%, tomorrow it can be Y%. Today, a certain transportation mechanism is getting blocked. There is a supply chain disruption. Organizations, Indian organization which has a global aspiration, would love to be ready to face those challenges, and how they can do the transformation and be ready with AI. That's the trend we are seeing.
Correct. So do you think, the question of the why part, doesn't that deter people from then again being like skeptical about, should I be bringing in AI agents in my system? If we have studies, or I'm sure there are studies like you said, where the results are not very promising. So do you see that hesitance from, say, customers as a whole, and maybe India specifically?
Actually not. I think, and fortunately, I think people are very bullish about AI. They are really getting into why isn't it not successful, and how we can make it successful. That is the conversation that we are having. We are not seeing skepticism in the customers.
They just want to figure out how we can
how we can do it.
Okay.
And therefore, what we are talking about from a PI or a process intelligence perspective is really ringing a bell. In fact, they have the advantage of hindsight. Past 3 years experience versus what would they do. And we demonstrate it through our, as I said, POVs or proof of values, right? So we are very happy to go below the hood and really show them some of the results from their own data. And that is convincing the customers. And that's something which we are very strong in. We really would like to do proofs of values with our customers and show them the value, show them the dollars.
Correct. Yeah. And in your experience, Kaushik, having been in this field, what is your take on the whole agentic AI scene? Of course, it is good, it is helpful, but say as an analyst, if you're looking at it from your point, with your experience that you have, do you see any areas where it still needs improvement, or probably where if it is used in a certain way, it would yield better results? This is again, from your point of view, not possibly Celonis in particular, just to understand your point.
I would say, look, end of the day, it's around, we are still in a very nascent stage of agentic AI. When did we start hearing about agentic AI?
Maybe last year.
Last year. 3 years back, we started hearing about generative AI, right? So any technology, in my experience, and I have been in the industry for 30 years, takes some time to mature. When I first came into the industry, we were talking about mainframes and host-based systems. I don't know whether you've heard about it also.
I have.
Yeah.
Mainframes.
So that was
It's surprising there are still some banks that use that,
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely. So everything has its own utility, right?
Yeah.
From there, we came into client server, right? From there, of course, the internet revolution. Yeah. And then finally, the cloud. And if you look at any of these things, it takes time to mature. It has its own runway. It needs its own runway. And therefore, I think agentic is still in its initial stage. But I am really a strong believer in the power of agentic AI. But I also believe that it will not take away the human intelligence out of the system. I believe it should be a balance of both. We would need both. Agentic AI would really help us in automation and various other ways to take the human out of the system from areas which are repeatable and manual. How can we automate them? And there are areas where human beings will spend more time on the strategic element of it. So our time will be more deployed on the strategic part, whereas the manual part will get automated via the agentic AI. So I'm a firm believer, but I still feel there's some room for it to mature, and definitely process intelligence plays a very, very important role in that.
But it is safe to say that, although like you said, every technology would take its time, but we have seen a certain level of acceleration with the way AI and agentic AI has been adopted, right, in enterprises and everything.
Yes, absolutely. So that's why, as I said, when you asked me about the trend is everybody is trying to figure out that if they are not into agentic AI, maybe they are falling behind some of their competitors, and others may be going ahead. So there is an acceleration. So no one wants to get lost out in not getting into the trend. But the more mature customers are really trying to figure out as to how it will make business sense and how it will really add value. So the agents would be important. There are other ethical considerations also which one needs to balance. And you know, India is a populous country, so we need to be very careful about how we deploy and how we make it meaningful. And also the entire thing around agentic AI will also mean a lot of engineering resources being required on this platform. You know, I remember those days during my engineering when first the computerization started. And I don't want to also convey what my age is through the process, but
I'm not going to ask you.
yeah, but I remember initially there was a lot of skepticism around computers, right? In banks, in public sectors, and so on. And then it became a part of our lives. Here also, it would be the same. The initial concerns are there, but then the point is it will lead to more jobs, more job creation. The agents will help in automation, and the strategic element with human intelligence will come in. So really a very positive outlook looking forward. Yeah.
Got it. And just to plug in with the Indian angle, now say if India wants, I mean, they're having a lot of efforts in becoming a manufacturing hub, supply chain capital. So where do you think process intelligence or implementation and adoption of this can help India compete at a global scale?
Yeah, it's time to market, time to delivery, time to respond to changes. Now, my experience, most organizations has disparate platforms. There are very few organizations who are end-to-end only on one platform. Now, what does it mean? It means that these applications need to be integrated, they need to talk to each other, then only you have an end-to-end process view. Typically, that is where the challenge lies. And to really be the hub for manufacturing and supply chain, which is what your question is, you need to have the process layer on top of it to take data from these applications and really give you the view across applications. So that's the entire thing around digital twin and all of that, right? So organizations are looking at a universal language, if you may, which cuts across multiple platforms and applications. I'll give you an example. Here is an Indian organization which is growing exponentially by inorganic acquisitions. Now, when I met the global CIO of that company, he said, it's very impossible, Kaushik, for me to change the ERP platform for every acquisition that I'm making, right? So I need data from all these different platforms. And they spoke about having some 23 different ERPs. And then build a universal layer. Can you folks help us in doing it? And we said, yes, we are up to it, because that's what our strength lies. And of course, that would be very important for them from a manufacturing and supply chain perspective.
Right.
Because some of these units of that organization are actually vendors to the other unit. The entire supply chain has to be mapped across different units. But imagine if they're using different ERPs and they are not integrated to each other.
Okay.
So that's where, for India to become a manufacturing and supply chain hub, it needs to have that universal layer on top of it, which is where a process intelligence platform really would help.
But when you think of the implementation bit, like you said, the disparate platforms, which is what it is, and for them to kind of get into a unified format seems like a very mammoth task, right? I mean, in terms of at least bringing it out.
Yeah, I mean, it would take time, but at the same time, it's actually not so difficult.
Okay.
If you have the ability, and that's what we are looking at, surfacing not the entire data, we are looking at surfacing the transactional data, the event logs, and trying to map the processes, right? We are not touching the core ERPs. So typically, if a core ERP gets implemented, it takes time, right? But if you are looking at process intelligence, you just need to find out what are the deltas that are happening. And if you can have the data engineering to surface that data, and build that digital twin, then the rest of it becomes easy. But I agree that if there are so many different platforms, it would take its time. And it is a continuous process. But it is the best possible option for you, rather than moving all your units into, let's say, one application framework, which is a much more mammoth thing to do.
Got it. So coming to the end of this conversation, I want to just understand your personal journey. You've had a very interesting one. You've been with Oracle for quite some time. So why don't you just throw some light on how that journey has been from that to where you are right now, and the learnings that you've had over time?
Yeah, I think, it has been quite a journey. And yes, I have been with multiple large organizations, global and Indian. I've worked with Oracle, I've worked with Microsoft, and also some Indian enterprises. The most important thing that I've seen cutting across my entire journey is it's very important to show value to your customers. A relationship with a customer should be one of trust, one of value. Business will flow from there. The relationship should be how we can give incremental value to the customer, help him in achieving the ROI, and build that trust and confidence. And that has been my experience across multiple platforms that I have engaged upon. I have looked at tech platforms, application platforms, and so on. So it should be you are a consultant to the customer. And that is the biggest lesson that I have learned, and which essentially means when I look at my stint at Celonis, all my years of experience in applications really is helping me, because I can understand that customers now feel that system of records are table stakes. You need them to run your applications. System of analytics are a definite necessity, but you really need to provide the system of intelligence. And it is that intelligence which can leapfrog India into the next league. An India which is forward-looking, an India which is second to none globally, an India who's really trying to reach the sky. And all of us have our own roles to play in that. And I'm quite proud of the fact that thanks to all the relationships, understanding that I've built over the past 3 decades, that I can bring that to the table. And Celonis and Process Intelligence has given me a wonderful platform to do that.
All right, got it. That's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Anyway, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thanks.
This has truly been insightful, Kaushik.
Thanks, Vandana, and thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
What Kaushik underscored today is simple. Most organizations don't struggle because they lack data. They struggle because they don't know where the real breakdowns are. The real issues sit between systems, between teams, and in the handoffs no one tracks until something goes wrong. And as India doubles down on AI, manufacturing, and end-to-end transformation, getting that visibility isn't a nice to have anymore. It's the foundation everything else will stand on. That's all we have on Point Break. Don't forget to stay sharp, stay curious, and think AI, think AIM.